Hello and welcome to the Business Interview. I'm Marcus Carlson. 9/11 impacted politics, economics, and even the way we board planes. And it also devastated the real estate market surrounding Ground Zero in Lower Manhattan. In today's program, we're looking at how New York got back on its feet after the terrorist attacks 10 years ago. Joining us now for more on that from New York City is Bruce Mosler. He works for the real estate firm Cushman & Wakefield, where he's chairman of Global Brokerage. Thanks very much indeed, Mr. Mosler, for speaking to us.
Pleasure to be here today.
Now, some experts predicted at the time of 9/11 that it would take decades before Lower Manhattan would function normally again. Now, though, it seems to be buzzing just 10 years after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Would you agree with that picture?
I absolutely would. I think the experts who were predicting a longer recovery forgot how resilient New Yorkers are. I think that today we're looking at an area that has 4.8 million square feet of new construction, which we desperately need in terms of the quality of space. Larry Silverstein, the Port Authority, have accomplished something in less time than most people predicted. And with the commitment by Condé Nast of 1 million square feet, we're looking at an area that's completely revitalized. And let's not forget the enormous infrastructure investment that has been made by the city with Calatrava and Fulton Street. These are all contributing to a quicker recovery than might have initially been thought of.
You spoke about the publishing house Condé Nast, which is buying into One World Trade Center, the new building that's currently being constructed near Ground Zero. Do you think that their being there is going to be enough, though? Don't more tenants need to move in, more than just Condé Nast?
Well, of course, we need more tenants to come in. We've also had a commitment by the Port Authority to lease 700,000 square feet in Larry Silverstein's building. But this is the beginning of what will launch much more interest by other tenancies. We know for a fact that a number of the financial services firms are looking down there. Other service firms have begun to look. And let's not forget that in 2004, Goldman Sachs made an enormous commitment to remain downtown and build their world headquarters there. It is an exciting place to be. More retail, more office space was converted to residential, which gives it a 24/7 community feel. So there's no question that other tenants will be coming.
Now, thousands of people worked in the two World Trade Center towers. It was really a prime piece of real estate on Lower Manhattan or in Lower Manhattan. Do you think that this site will actually get back to that former glory?
Oh, I think that the sites will exceed the past quality and glory that they held. We will never forget the World Trade Centers as they were. We will never forget the victims. And we will not forget that people around the world came together on this event. But there's no question that the quality of the new product that's being built by Mr. Silverstein at 7 World Trade and what the Port Authority is doing at 1 World Trade Center, this product is the best in class that we have to offer. And it's undeniable that they will be successful.
Now, we're at the 10-year anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. You grew up in New York. What are your own thoughts on this anniversary?
Well, it's a difficult anniversary, I think, for most of us who grew up here, who lost friends here. Cushman & Wakefield at the time of the tragedy managed 20 million square feet downtown, and in many cases, my people were the last people out of buildings, ensuring that everybody else got out. I think I'm thinking of the families that were affected. I'm thinking of all of New Yorkers, and not just New Yorkers, but people around the world. Let's remember that worldwide people were affected that lived and worked in these buildings. I'm thinking it's a time to remember. I'm also thinking it's a time that we should be proud of what has been accomplished, what is being accomplished by the Port Authority at Larry Silverstein and the Durst family, and commitments like Condé Nast. These are things to be proud of right now.
Where were you on that day? Were you in New York at the time?
Actually, I wasn't, Marcus. I was in Wisconsin meeting with the chief financial officer of Rockwell International when I first got the call that a plane had hit, and then I got a call 40 minutes later, and I began my drive back. I got back to New York at 5 a.m. that evening. and the following day held a conference for some news outlets to let them know that we were going to work 24/7 with our colleagues in the industry to help displaced tenants get back to work.
What were your thoughts at that time about the real estate market? What was your thinking from a business perspective?
Sure. Well, I think a lot of questions beyond my thoughts. I'll try to encapsulate what people were asking. They were asking questions about whether people would continue to work in a high-rise environment. Would companies continue to want to have their employees consolidated together? And I think those answers have come back and in very good form. First and foremost, companies have said that to keep the creative process going, that people have to work together, even though people can work remotely with telecommunications and technology being what it is. Companies want their people to work together in order to have the advantage of the creative process. And the high rise is still the most attractive way for people to work together. So many questions were asked, many answers are in. And I think that it's again testimony to the resilience of not only business but of communities worldwide.
Now, on this 10-year anniversary, we're looking at a very harsh economic climate. Do you think there is a risk that the downturn in the American economy will slow things down?
Well, I think undeniably we have been looking at a bifurcated recovery over the last 2 years, even as the markets improved. Not all markets improved. In the United States, we have a recovery that's limited to 6 or 7 core markets. When you look at New York, we stand alone in many regards in the sense that we've recovered almost 62% of the jobs lost since the Great Recession. The market is robust in the sense that technology, healthcare, education have all grown exponentially. So the recovery has been different based upon where you are. Having said all this, thus far, having seen a jobless recovery, I think that we are at the bottom. I think we'll continue to have some challenges in terms of job creation. But as compared to other countries and as compared to other cities, I think that this has been a relatively robust time. Peak to trough pricing in New York was at 400 at the trough. We're already seeing pricing back to close to 1,000 per square foot for the most attractive office buildings. No question we have challenges. It's mostly around employment. We have to see what will happen in the coming years relative to employment. That will dictate everything.
Now, there's been a lot of talk of a double-dip recession lately in the United States. By what you're saying right there, it doesn't sound as if you are thinking that there'll be one.
You're absolutely correct. I don't think that there'll be a double-dip recession. I think what we're going to see is a difficult time where, as I mentioned, we have several years of challenges ahead of us in terms of job creation. But the administration is working very hard to try to generate interest and incentives for companies to create new jobs, sustainable jobs, not just jobs built around infrastructure hiring. And I think that there will be some success. Clearly, in the United States, we have a free market system, and we're watching it at work today. And we will have our challenges. But with that said, I think that we'll get through this.
Let's talk a little bit about here towards the end about why Manhattan has recovered and recovered fairly quickly, as you say. What do you think that is? Is it because of politics and that politicians actually got something right? Or do you think it's something more organic or perhaps a little bit of a mixture of the two?
I would probably agree with you that it's a mixture of the two, but let me sort of give credit where credit is due. We have had very strong leadership in New York with Mayor Bloomberg, and prior to Mayor Bloomberg through Mayor Giuliani in the crisis itself. Mayor Bloomberg has, I think, created an environment where business understands that it is appreciated and wanted, and business has taken off in New York. We're a more robust market since 9/11 in the sense that technology today, we employ more jobs in technology than any other city in the country. And that's not a well-known fact. We are also robust in education, robust in healthcare, and clearly we're a marketplace that is driven by the financial services companies. And Manhattan is one of the financial capitals of the world, if not the, and so people have a need to be here. Those things have benefited us. And we have seen young people want to come to the urban environment, to the excitement of New York. They want to be in this city, oftentimes doubling up in apartments in order to be here and to be able to afford to be here. That's all benefited this city.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Bruce Mosler joining us there from New York City and from the firm Cushman and Wakefield. It's been a pleasure to speak to you, sir, and the best of luck in the future.
Thank you so much for having me.
And with that, we're going to wrap up the program. Thanks for watching.